What happens when one of Hollywood's most celebrated directors steps into what should have been a routine interview only to find himself facing an ambush that exposes the ugly side of daytime television? Ron Howard, the visionary behind cinematic classics like Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and Rush, believed he was appearing on The View to talk about his newest project. Instead, he walked straight into a verbal battlefield with Joy Behar, whose relentless questioning and twisted logic tested even the most composed filmmaker. This is the account of how a revered director's patience was pushed to the breaking point on live national television and why millions witnessed one of the most uncomfortable talk show moments ever. Before diving in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts on Media Ambush interviews in the comments. The green room at ABC Studios hummed with the usual pre-show energy. Ron adjusted his tie, scanning the notes his publicist had prepared. The interview was meant to focus on his upcoming film, a heartfelt drama about small-town America already generating Oscar buzz. He's done hundreds of these interviews over his decades-long career, from his days as a P-tailer to directing some of Hollywood's biggest hits. The View should have been straightforward. "Mr. Howard, we're ready for you," a production assistant called, clipboard in hand. Ron followed her through a maze of corridors, past framed photos of celebrity guests and memorable moments from the show's long history. He could hear the audience applauding as the hosts took their seats at the familiar semicircular table. Whoopi Goldberg's voice boomed over the speakers, introducing the segment. "Our next guest needs no introduction. He's entertained us for over 50 years, so first as an actor, now as one of Hollywood's most successful directors. Please welcome Ron Howard." The audience erupted as Ron walked on set, his trademark warm smile lighting up his face. He waved, shook hands with each host, and settled into the guest chair. The studio lights felt unusually hot, which he chalked up to nerves about promoting a film close to his heart. "Ron, thank you so much for being here," Whoopi began, her tone genuinely welcoming. "I've been a fan since the Andy Griffith Show days." "Thank you, Whoopi. Those were magical times. I feel incredibly fortunate to have grown up in front of America's eyes," Ron replied, his voice carrying the Midwestern sincerity that had endeared him to millions. Sarah Haynes leaned forward, expression bright. "Your new film deals with themes of community and resilience. What drew you to this story?" Ron's eyes lit up. "You know, Sarah, in today's divided world, I think we've lost sight of how much we share in common. This story reminded me of the America I grew up in, where neighbors looked out for each other regardless of politics or backgrounds." That's when Joy Behar decided to strike. "That's interesting, Ron," she interrupted, her voice edged with challenge. "You talk about the America you grew up in like it was some kind of paradise. But wasn't that the same America that was segregated, where women couldn't open bank accounts, and anyone who wasn't straight, white, and Christian was treated as second class?" The studios seemed to drop 10 degrees. Ron blinked, clearly caught off guard. "Well, Joy, I don't want to romanticize the past. Every era has its challenges, and society has made progress, a progress that many people fought for tirelessly." Joy shot back, voice rising. "Let's be honest about what you're really saying. Talking about the good old days is really saying you had the power, and everyone else knew their place." The audience shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the friendly chat they expected. Ron's publicist, watching from the wings, looked on the verge of panic. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," Ron said calmly but with a hint of confusion. "I was discussing community spirit, how neighbors used to look out for each other. That has nothing to do with politics or hierarchy." Joy leaned back, a satisfied smirk on her lips. "Everything is political, Ron, especially when someone with your platform waxes nostalgic. You can't separate art from politics or nostalgia from reality." Sunny host tried to intervene. "Joy, I think Ron is just trying to talk about his film." "No, let him answer," Joy snapped. "I want to know if Ron Howard thinks the civil rights movement was just complaints about the good old days he's fond of." Ron's jaw tightened. Decades of media training taught him to stay composed, but this was unprecedented. The question wasn't just unfair, it was designed to trap him. "Joy, with all due respect, you're putting words in my mouth I never said. I've always supported civil rights, women's rights, and equality. My films promote inclusion and understanding. Have they? Joy pressed, clearly enjoying watching him squirm. Or are they just feel-good stories for white audiences without challenging anything? The other hosts exchanged uneasy glances. Even Whoopi seemed surprised by Joy's relentless assault. Ron inhaled deeply, trying to steer the conversation. If you look at my work From A Beautiful Mind to Apollo 13A, you'll see stories celebrating human resilience and cooperation. These aren't partisan messages, they're human messages. Human messages, Joy repeated with obvious disdain. That's code for avoiding disruption. That's privilege. Ron, you make movies about humanity while others struggle for basic rights. The audience was silent. Ron's hands gripped the chair's arms, the first sign his patience was fraying. Joy, I'm not sure what you want to accomplish. Painting me as a villain for making films that bring people together isn't fair. That's not privilege, it's experience. Joy's eyes lit up like a predator sensing prey. Experience? You mean growing up as a white male in Hollywood, never having to fight for a seat at the table? I started working when I was 6, Ron said, still composed but strained. I've been in this industry over 50 years, hired diverse crews, and told inclusive stories. Most directors of your generation, Joy mocked. Grading yourself on a curve, Ron. That doesn't set a high bar. Whoopi intervened. Joy, maybe we should focus on the film. No, this conversation is overdue, Joy shot back. Hollywood baits itself on the back while ignoring systemic issues. Ron Howard embodies that thinking. Ron's knuckles whitened as he gripped the chair. What exactly would you like me to say? Apologize for a successful career? For telling stories that resonate? I want honesty, Joy replied. Admit your success came at the expense of talented people without connections or the right look. That's unfair, Ron said, voice rising. I've worked hard, treated everyone with respect, and used my platform meaningfully. Joy laughed harshly. Worked hard? You went from child actor to director without proving yourself like a woman or person of color would. You call that hard work? Sarah Haynes looked ready to disappear. Sunny host shifted uncomfortably. I proved myself every day, Ron said, voice tight. Every movie had to succeed on its own. Nobody handed me anything after turning 18. Right? Joy said sarcastically. Hollywood is so merit-based. How many female directors or people of color did you mentor? I've mentored dozens, Ron replied, but Joy cut him off. Give numbers, names, evidence. I don't have to justify my career, Ron said, strained. This is about my film, not a trial. Everything's a trial when you benefit from an unfair system, Joy shot back. I've never pretended otherwise, Ron said. But I won't apologize for working hard. Take your issue with the industry, not individual artists. You are the industry, Joy snapped. Gatekeepers decide whose stories get told. Whose America are you portraying? I focus on universal human experiences, Ron said, defensive despite composure. Universal, Joy repeated. Code word for what white people relate to. Real universal includes everyone's experience. You're twisting my words, Ron said. I've made films about gay mathematicians, black musicians, working class heroes. How is that exclusive? For white audiences, Joy replied. Representation versus exploitation. Who profits? Who decides? The studio was silent, watching a beloved director being verbally shredded. Ron, spotless in reputation for 50 years, was being painted as everything wrong with Hollywood. I profit as a director, Ron said, patience cracking. But actors, crew, everyone benefits. That's business. Always business, Joy said. Not art, not social responsibility. Just money while patting yourself on the back for inclusion. Ron's face was red, composure strained. What do you want from me? Stop making movies? Give away my money? I want honesty, Joy said. Admit your career was built on a system favoring people like you. Stop pretending feel-good movies are public service. My films entertained millions, provided jobs for thousands, Ron said, voice shaking. If that's not public service, What is? Joy slammed the table. Not enough. Not when people are dying. Democracy is under attack. Rights are stripped. Your comfort food movies let people ignore reality. Whoopi tried again. Let's take a breath. No, Joy said. I want to hear him defend movies that tell people it's okay when it's not. Ron stood abruptly, audience gasping. For the first time in 50 years, the director had reached his breaking point. You know what, Joy? Ron said, voice shaking but measured. I came to talk about a film celebrating the best in people. Instead, I faced 20 minutes of character assassination. Joy's eyes gleamed. Now I have an agenda. Yes, Ron said, pointing at her. Your agenda is tearing people down to feel important, not accountability. Not justice. Just destroying reputations. The other hosts were frozen. This was no longer political discourse. Joy laughed harshly. Your reputation is a lie. Talent alone didn't get you here. The system is fair. You're the poster child for rewarded white mediocrity. Ron's jaw clenched. White mediocrity? I've won Oscars, grossed billions, employed thousands, touched millions. If that's mediocrity, your standards are impossible. Those awards given by other white men, Joy shot back. Billions came from audiences conditioned to see you as default. Special? Ron stepped closer, fists clenched. I've dedicated my life to craft, treated everyone with respect, never caused harm. That's what makes me special. Not skin color. There it is, Joy said, triumphant. The white victim card. This isn't privilege. Ron exploded. It's you being bitter, tearing down successful people. You couldn't make it as a comedian, so now you destroy others. The audience gasped. Joy's face turned pale, then red. Ron had landed a personal blow. Liv. How dare you? Joy whispered. How dare I? Tell the truth, Ron said, ice cold. You dish it out but can't take it. Failed careers. Let's talk about yours. Mediocre comic turned professional outrage. Whoopi intervened. Maybe step back. No, Ron said, never looking away. I'm done being polite while people like her spread poison. The problem isn't storytelling, it's tearing others down. Joy's hands shook, persona cracking. You know nothing about me. You tried to destroy a man for succeeding, Ron said. You turned a conversation about art into a vicious attack. Millions saw the real Joy Behar. Sarah Haynes tried to salvage. Maybe talk about the film. This was never about the film, Ron said. It was about Joy proving moral superiority. Congratulations, you ambushed a guest in good faith. Hope it was worth it. Joy's voice cracked. Run away? That's what privileged people do when confronted. Ron paused, turned, voice quiet. Reality, I spent 50 years earning respect through work and decency. You survived by cruelty, calling it honesty. Today, everyone saw who the real problem is. Get out. Joy screamed. I was leaving, Ron said calmly, adjusting his jacket. Good luck explaining this to producers. As he walked off, the audience erupted, some cheering the director, some shocked by the breakdown. Joy stood, chest heaving, hair slightly disheveled. Other hosts avoided her gaze. Whoopi looked at the cameras and producers, angry and disbelieving. Cameras rolled as Joy composed herself. Well, she said, voice from shouting, some can't handle tough questions. Hollow words in a studio where energy had shifted. Whoopi addressed the cameras. We'll be right back after the break. Joy slumped, realizing she'd pushed too far. She'd made a respected director sympathetic while making herself the aggressor. Producers scrambled to salvage the rest of the show. Ron Howard, somewhere in the building, removed his microphone, shook hands with staff, and walked out with his reputation intact, perhaps enhanced by standing up to the toxic culture of attack journalism on daytime TV. The View continued without him. But viewers knew exactly who had won. Was Ron Howard justified in standing up to Joy Behar's relentless attacks, or should he have maintained composure? Share your thoughts below and hit that subscribe button for more celebrity drama breakdowns.